Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is sounding the alarm, and it's not your everyday battlefield update. On Tuesday, he vowed not to hand even an inch of eastern Ukrainian land to Russia. His red line, the Donbas region. Why? Because in his words, abandoning Donbas would be like giving Putin the keys to start a third war in Ukraine. Now, this warning isn't coming in a vacuum. It's dropping just days before a very, very high-stakes Alaska meet between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. So why is Donbas Zelensky's red line, and why does Putin want control over this very region? Now, Zelensky's warning is stark. Give up Donbas and you hand Putin the launchpad for a third war in Ukraine, a wider invasion that could put cities like Dnipro, Kharkiv, and Zaporozhye in the crosshairs. The Donbas, that's Donetsk and Luhansk, has been a war zone since 2014, when Russian-backed separatism turned it into a hotbed of conflict. If Russia fully secures it, military analysts say it becomes a perfect springboard for further advances westward. Now, for Kyiv, losing it means losing a defensive buffer. For Moscow, gaining it means locking in territorial gains and possibly redrawing Ukraine's map for good. Here's where Moscow's perspective comes in. Luhansk and Donetsk, along with Zaporozhye and Kherson, were declared part of Russia after referendums in 2022. Russia says these votes, which Ukraine and most of the world reject as illegal, were an expression of local will. Luhansk is fully under Russian control since earlier this year. Donetsk, Zaporozhye, and Kherson only partially held by Russia, with front lines still shifting at least on an everyday basis. Crimea, claimed by Russia since 2014 after its own disputed referendum. Now, from Moscow's standpoint, any peace deal starts with Ukraine withdrawing troops from what it calls its new regions, quote unquote, plus recognition of Crimea as Russian. Now, Donald Trump is heading to Alaska to meet Putin alone. Whispers from Washington and from Moscow suggest land for peace swaps could be on the table. Now, that could mean Ukraine cedes Donbas, maybe more, in exchange for a ceasefire. Zelensky calls this unconstitutional, since Ukrainian law forbids border changes without a referendum. Now, for him, it's also a strategic trap, a deal struck over Ukraine's head. So why do both sides see existential stakes? For Kyiv, it means security collapse if Donbas falls, and the risk of Russia regrouping and striking again. For Moscow, it means consolidating gains from 2022 referendum and legitimizing its new regions internationally. Forcing Ukraine to abandon NATO ambitions is part of a broader settlement. That's the other benefit for Moscow. But stakeholders say there are bigger risks in case of a land swap deal, as it would set a precedent that force changes borders, could also potentially fracture Western unity if Kyiv is cut out. We've also heard these noises from many in Europe who feel that it would mean Ukraine's defenses weakened. So finally, it's going to be two leaders in Alaska, one leader left out. For Zelensky, that's not just bad optics. It's the making of a deal that could redraw the map of Ukraine without consent. For Putin, it's a chance to turn battlefield lines into borders. And for the rest of us, it's the question of whether peace can be built on territory traded, or whether that's just the opening act of the next war.